Okay. We're live, you said?
We're not.
Okay. Welcome, everyone, to the April 15th, 2025 council meeting. The meeting is live streamed and recorded and available on the internet by visiting the website at Town of Parry Sound, www.parrysound.ca. This time I'd like to acknowledge that we're on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people under the Robinson-Huron Treaty of 1850 and the waterways traveled by the Métis of this region. Is there any prioritization or additions to the agenda? We are. I don't think so. I think that was added. I think that was taken care of earlier. Councillor Borneman?
Yes, could we add item 956 with respect to Ontario Senior of the Year, please?
Yep. Okay. We can. Yeah, I know, but Ms. Johnson put something out that was already arranged, so, and I believe the debutante is online already, possibly. Yeah, so when that comes up, we'll do that. Just remind me that Councilor McCann had asked for that to happen, the deputation. Yeah. All in favor of the agenda as amended? Okay, that's carried. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Councillor Bileski? Yes? Oh, okay, all right. We've got that. Also, prior to the open session, council met for a closed meeting, was moved by Councilor McCann, second by Councilor Borneman. The pursuant to section 239(2) and 3 of the Municipal Act SO 2001 C25 is amended. Council of the Corporation of Town of Parry Sound moves to a special meeting closed to the public in order to address the matters pertaining to litigation and potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, contractor work on town property and defense claim, and F, advice that's subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, bylaw compliance regulating sewer use. That meeting was held. Mover and seconder for the minutes. Councilor McCann, Councilor Ashford. The minutes from the special council meeting held March 25th and the regular council meeting held April 1st, 2025 be approved as circulated. Any comments or discussion on any one of those two particular minutes? No? All in favor then? That's carried. Thank you. Questions of staff? I'll move on. Correspondence. Ms. O'Connor.
Thank you, Worship. Thank you, Worship. Correspondence 4.1, letter dated March 31st, 2025, from the Parry Sound Community Radio Association to provide an update on the deputation to Mayor and Council on July 4th, 2023. This letter was to notify the Mayor and Council that the CRTC application was completed and submitted on March 28th. A response is expected within the next few months. Item 4.2 was a letter dated April 2025 from the Provincial Ministry for Seniors and Accessibility, inviting the Mayor to nominate an exceptional local senior for the 2025 Ontario Senior of the Year Award. This award provides each municipality the opportunity to honor one outstanding senior for their contributions to enriching the social, cultural, and civic life of their community. The deadline for nominations is April 30th. And 4.3 was a letter dated April 9th, 2025 from the Provincial Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, announcing their intention to extend strong mayor powers to 169 additional municipalities that includes the town of Parry Sound, effective May 1st, 2025.
Thank you. And we'll be dealing with that particular one later on the agenda as well. Okay, deputation. So we have one deputation tonight, and Councilor McCann, you have to remind me who the person is.
Sure. This is Carol Yock. She's a graduate of Parry Sound High School and has done Parry Sound very well as she's gone on to post-secondary studies. She's a professor at the University of Ottawa, and she's into research, and she's become concerned over the fact that we seem to be losing some sort of equality across the board when it comes to funding for research. And that equality may have to do with funding, it may have to do with gender and racial background and such. So she can explain it a lot better than I can. And she's, along with the university, is attempting to spread the word and make sure that the federal government is aware of what's happening and to try to fix the problem.
Thank you. Ms. Yock is online, and welcome. And I think they probably told you have 10 minutes.
Sure, I prepared about 5 minutes to
Thank
tell you
you.
a little bit about our petition.
Okay.
So thank you very, very much for the opportunity to tell you a little bit about something that's deeply important to me, and I also think foundational to Canada's quality of life. It's especially, of course, meaningful for me to do so in my hometown of Parry Sound, where my journey into science and research first began. So I was very fortunate to attend Parry Sound High School, and I credit that experience with setting me up for success. I had exceptional teachers, in particular in math and science, who not only gave me the tools to thrive at university, but who also believed in me. So as a girl in the 80s who excelled in the sciences, I was never told that I couldn't pursue this path. Instead, I was told that I could, and more importantly, that I should. And that encouragement really mattered. It wasn't until I reached university that I truly understood the power of research, how it underpins so many aspects of our lives, our healthcare, our environment, our economy, our infrastructure, and our ability to respond to crisis. I went to McMaster University, and while I was in my undergraduate studies there, I found myself in a highly diverse student community. There, I learned to ask better questions, and I began to understand just how much diversity fuels innovation. But it was also there over the 4 years of my undergraduate degree that I realized through all that time in science, I only had one female professor. And this was not until my 4th year of university. That absence really stuck with me, but it also fueled me. In 4th year university, I completed my own independent research project towards my Bachelor of Science. And this is when I really realized how I wanted to contribute and make a difference in Canada through research. This led me to a PhD, and I haven't looked back. In my PhD, I worked in downtown Hamilton, and this gave me deeper understanding of how different communities experience different challenges. I saw firsthand how health and environmental needs vary across populations and how important it is that research reflects all those differences. These experiences drove me to build a research career focused on public and environmental health, first at Health Canada and later at the University of Ottawa. I've come to understand that science is at its best and it's most impactful when it's done by all people for all people. So that brings me to the petition that I hope you've seen. This petition, which was formulated by the Women in Biology group that I lead at the University of Ottawa, and it's posted and hosted on the Evidence for Democracy website. This is a national, nonpartisan, nonprofit organization. Our petition is a call to ensure that our country's research reflects the diverse people it serves. It highlights that Canada is strongest when we tap into our diversity. As a nation, and growing up and going to William Beatty School and Parry Sound High School, we were taught to be proud of Canada as a mosaic nation. And I would argue that this is more than just a metaphor for us. It's really our superpower. It distinguishes us from other countries and puts us in a highly unique position as innovators. So within the petition, we make three main points. The first is that diversity drives excellence. Diverse research teams consistently deliver better results. They're more creative, they're more practical, and they're more effective. Inclusive research fuels innovation and economic growth. This is our second point. It helps tailor solutions to real needs, from healthcare to climate change, and strengthens community large and small. And our third point is that leaving talent behind weakens us all. When research excludes people, intentionally or not, we miss out on the ideas and discoveries that they could bring. So I think personally that we're at a critical moment. And my colleagues at the University of Ottawa and at universities across the country agree. In the US, entire science programs are being shut down, including areas focused on issues like women's health, health equity, and environmental protection. And to us, that's deeply concerning. But we also see it as an opportunity, a very powerful opportunity for Canada to lead, to reaffirm that science matters and that it must be inclusive, practical, and rooted in community needs. We feel that we can't afford to leave half our team on the sidelines, as we say in our petition. Inclusive research means better research, research that leads to real solutions, whether you're in downtown Ottawa or in a smaller community like Parry Sound. Everyone deserves to be represented in the questions we ask and the discoveries we pursue. And so that's why I'm calling on municipalities to support this petition. And I understand a motion has been prepared for your consideration tonight, and I really want to deeply thank you for taking this seriously and for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. Your voice will add strength to this message, and it helps signal that Parry Sound understands how critical it is that science in Canada continues to be for everyone. Thank you very much for the chance to tell you about this petition.
Well, thank you. And thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions? Councillor McCann.
Yeah, just a word of thank you to Carol for being available tonight. This all happened very quickly, and best of luck to you. And I understand the university is behind you. You mentioned that in your presentation. Have you had an opportunity to directly speak to provincial and federal levels at this point? This is the municipal level, and we can certainly push that forward. Are there any other steps that you've taken to, to forward this? Because I think it's pretty important.
Thank you very much for that question. I have emailed my local candidates for the upcoming election, all of them, and presented the petition to them. I have been speaking to the undergraduate community at the University of Ottawa, and they have also taken this petition and spoken at an open town hall that included some of the candidates running in Ottawa for the federal election. And I have been interacting a lot with the Coalition on Research Excellence, or CORE as they're called, which is tightly connected with the Canadian Association of University Teachers and others. And through those channels, we're trying to reach more broadly. So I haven't had the opportunity to directly speak myself with any of the political candidates in the upcoming election. I really appreciate that you are willing to listen to me here today.
Best of luck to you, and thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks again. There were no more questions, right? Nope, no more questions. So thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Okay, those were the deputations for tonight. So we're into reports. And we'll start with Councillor Keith tonight.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, fellow councillors, staff, and the public. In the last 2 weeks, unfortunately, there's only been one committee experience that I was to be involved with, but it was canceled at the last minute. However, I did avail myself to being available in the community and the surrounding area. I should also say, I attended the funeral of Tom Morrison, and I think it was really important to attend that funeral, certainly for me personally, and I really appreciated the minister's speaking on principles, the importance of principles and how they affect us throughout our life. And in his case, he gave 4 main principles, and I really think that people should give time to think about the impact of having principles and how it affects you throughout your life, because it certainly does say something about a person's character. I also attended the Wasauksing First Nation, their Maple Fest. Unfortunately, it was raining, but certainly there were people out there still and lots of children involved in activities. One of the activities they added this year that I hadn't noticed last year was their rock climbing wall, and that was quite neat. I also, of course, took a ride on the wagon, and this year they had Belgian horses, so that was a little bit of a different experience. I attended the Earth Day which was at the BOCC more recently, and it seems like both the events that and of course there was the workshop for the psychic wellness also running that same day. But I got some figures in reference to the Earth Day family event, which was free. And this year there was a partnership with 8 community groups, and that included Georgian Bay Biosphere, Georgian Bay Refillery, Parry Sound Friendship Center, the museum on Tower Hill. Early on, Parry Sound Forest School, Pizza certainly was giving out free pizza, which tasted quite nice. And of course, the town of Parry Sound. One of the freebies that I did take, because I found it really educational, not only for young people, it says it's geared a 4 seasons activity book for ages 6 to 12. But besides that, when you start reading about it, I'm far from age 6 or 12, but I have to say there's a lot of really interesting information. It's certainly well presented, and I would say that whether you're 6, 12, or 35, etc., you can learn from there. It's just a wonderful little book and free besides. I mean, I don't think you can get a better deal than that. I should also say that I also attended the leisure wellness event, which also was at the BOCC this year. And this event also has increased with 35 families totaling 77 adults and 58 children. And this again is showing to me that the events that are being put on at the BOCC, there is more people, young people, families that are attending this. So I think when people might think, what's going on, or is there anything going on in the BOCC or in Parry Sound, they need to just inquire more, because there are events going on, and certainly, again, some of them are free. So that's my report, and thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ashford.
Thank you, Councillor Keith, for bringing up Tom there. It certainly was, I was certainly sad to hear of Tom's passing as well, that we only worked together for a short period of time at Home Depot when I was 23. And he had a formational effect on me. He really guided me quite a bit and also told me how it is as well. So it was, I really appreciate him, and he'll certainly be missed. Also, thank you to Councillor Keith for bringing up the Earth Day at the BOCC. My girls were able to attend, and they just had a riot. My 3-year-old really showed how much she's learned to be able to cause trouble in a large group of children. So we had a riot there, but both girls learned a lot and came home with a bag made from a T-shirt, recycled from a T-shirt, and have been playing with it to no end, and have all their plans ready for the Earth Day, where they're gonna be cleaning up around River Street. In addition to that, we did have a pool committee meeting where we got updates on how everything's going there, and the steel roof is all completed. I guess there's more that has to be done as opposed to just the steel part. But we should be seeing in the month of May, seeing glass and things like that. And they're still on track, making sure that the pool portion of it is going to be installed in July and August. So I think it'll be a bit of a busy time with everyone slowing down to see what that looks like. I can't imagine how they're going to get a pool in there, but it'll be kind of fun to watch and find out. And then finally, serendipitously, I was able to stop by the town dock today where they're working on the washrooms down there, and they're just making great progress. All the plumbing rough-ins and stuff are all done. The electricians are there, and the accessibility features of the new washroom seem to really fit what the community needs. So they're plugging away, getting all that set up. And there's bunches of piles of gravel over at the marina. I got that sign there that says no unauthorized vehicles, so I didn't venture any further. But it looks like things are moving along there too. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Counselor Blaski?
Thank you, your worship. From March the 30th to April the 2nd, I was fortunate enough to attend the Good Roads Convention in Toronto. It was a very good convention this year. A lot of seminars that were very interesting, but I did take a tour of the Independent Electrical Operators Association, I believe it is, where they transfer and look after all the power that's generated in Ontario, and it's a huge big wall, and it's almost, and I thought earlier, it's almost like you're dropping into a shuttle service, because there's TV screens and people sitting all over working on it, and they transfer power all over Ontario. It was very, very interesting. They can tell you what plants are running, what plants aren't running, and who's drawing the most power. And we do sell power to 3 states, and how much they're using, and that. So it was very, very interesting on how it worked. Very secure. We had to go through quite a bit to get the security clearance to get in the building. And they only opened the screen for a certain period of time. Photos were not allowed at the time, but it was interesting. Also, attended a lecture by, I believe the gentleman's name is Hutchison, and he's just president CEO of OMERS, and which we're all through OMERS that municipal employees are aware of, and he had quite a positive attitude. The amount of money that OMERS has that they handle is very good. So anyway, it was a very interesting lecture he gave us, and that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor McCann?
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and fellow councilors, staff, and public. I was not involved in any committee meetings the last couple of weeks, although it's been pretty busy. I do have some good news stories to pass along. First off, I had the opportunity to fill in as deputy mayor for you, Mr. Mayor, attending the and it certainly was an honor and a pleasure. The Parry Sound Area Founders Circle Awards night. I was there with Councillor McDonald and other staff members. Mr. Harris was there as well. That was Thursday evening at Tapatoo, Resort Tapatoo. It was a wonderful gala evening. The evening was all about celebrating entrepreneurship in the Parry Sound District. The winners of the 25 Founders Choice Awards were announced. The first prize went to Sound Yarn and Fiber, taking home $10,000. The runner-up was Harbor Hot Sauce, winning an award of $5,000. And the next 3, each taking home a check for $1,000, were I Like to Move It Movers, New Wave Fishing Academy, and Ollie's Parry Sound Fishing Charters. And the room was filled with a lot of excitement, motivation, creativity, entrepreneurship, and drive. It was a real pleasure to be there. I found it very encouraging to see that we have new generations in this town who are developing commerce with new ideas and technology and moving ahead and being a real success at it. So congratulations to everyone that was there. I want to congratulate Mr. Fred Heidman, who was inducted into the Ontario Community Newspapers Association Hall of Fame. This for 2025. Fred got his start at the Parry Sound North Star. He was only 16 years old. He was what they called a printer's devil back then, and that was in 1960. So I'm aging Fred. While the early part of his career focused on typesetting and ad creation, he did almost every job except for one particular important job, that was reporting. He didn't do that. In 1974, Fred became the paper's general manager, a position he would hold until he retired in 2008. He helped launch the new products like Fun in the Sun, Fun in the Snow, a large print phone book, and Side Roads magazine. And following the sale of the Georgian Bay Beacon to the North Star's publisher, Fred became instrumental in merging the two operations, which led to the creation, of the Beacon Star, which was published alongside with the North Star. Fred served on both the OCNA and the Canadian Community Newspapers Association boards, including the president of OCNA back in 2002. During his time on the provincial board, he helped rewrite the bylaws to allow for the membership of newspapers that publish in languages and other English or French to recognize, they rewrote the bylaws to allow newspapers of other languages to join in as well, and that had a lot of positive outcome. And also in the year 1996, he won the Silver Quill Award. So congratulations to Fred. We've been talking about honor and dedication this evening. Fred was also an earlier adopter of new technology, certainly becoming one of the the North Star becoming one of the weekly newspapers to have a news website. Fred was also a member of various boards, including the West Parry Sound Health Center, the Parry Sound Area Chamber of Commerce, the Regional Economic Development Advisory Committee. I started to talk about fairness. Fred's values include fairness, accuracy, and hard work. Congratulations to Fred and his proud extended family on this very prestigious award and occasion. And another note of congratulations goes out to Sully Burrows. You may recall that I reported on March 4th that congratulations were in order to Parry Sound's Sully Burrows after having been chosen as one of 8 semifinalists in a Canadian competition to find the next big country star in Canada. And yesterday there was a special presentation in which the 3 finalists were announced, and Sully managed to become one of the 3. So we want to congratulate him on that. He's got some busy months ahead of him, being selected as one of the 3 finalists. He will have an opportunity to travel around, including rubbing shoulders with people who are very influential in the music business, taking advantage of mentorships and such, even a trip to Nashville. So we won't know until September when the final winner is announced. The winner gets 25,000. Both runner-ups get 10,000. So we know already that Sully is a winner. So congratulations then to Sully, and we wish you all the best in your future. I'm sure we'll be hearing your name up alongside the likes of Alan Jackson and Johnny Cash and so all the best. Thank you. That's my report.
Thanks. Counselor Borneman.
No pressure on this young man.
No.
So, April 8th, I attended a meeting of the Airport Commission. The quarterly reporting appears that things are basically on track. We're ramping up for hopefully a busy summer season. Councillor Keith mentioned Earth Day. For those who were interested, you can still register for Pitch-In Week for April 20th to the 27th at parrysound.ca. And in addition to young Mr. Burrows, I congratulate the Georgian Jumpers who are off to the national finals in Saskatoon in mid-May. So I hope those young ladies have a great time and do their very best. Thank you.
Thank you. Council McDonald.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think, I didn't have any, council-related meetings to report on, and, Councillor McCann did a good job, summarizing what I was going to speak of. So I'll just echo that. Congratulations to Sully, for becoming a finalist, and to the Founder Circle Award winners. It was a great evening. Very encouraging to see such, creative and young entrepreneurs coming up through, the Parry Sound area year after year, and this Founder Circle organization that runs it, they do a great job fleshing out and showcasing the remarkable talent that we have in our business community. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Council, staff, and public. April 2nd, I had a Zoom meeting to go over the finishing touches on the OSIM conference, which starts April 30th. It's shaping up to be a really good conference, and we have some staff that will be attending the conference as well, because we will be hosting that conference here in Parry Sound next year. Of note, just fair warning to whoever is deputy mayor at the moment, that I will be away the following week of our first meeting in May at the Phenom Conference in North Bay. So, we will have the Phenom Conference in Parry Sound in 2027. So, Councilor McCann, is that you? Okay, there you go. April 9th was the Recreation Center meeting. A lot going on with the construction right now. There's a lot of moving parts in it. And as everybody can see, it's starting to get sheeted in. It's more forming around the outside of it. And a lot of interior ditching for different things or whatever, for conduits and different things. So, yeah, just a lot going on, and had some very excited people in the community about, just can't wait for the thing to open. So, which is really good. April 10th, as I wasn't able to attend the Founder Circle event, was the District Social Services Board meeting, and everyone should have received their board report in their email. Good, good. April 11th, I attended Parry Sound Public School to talk to the students. This is part of the Healthy Democracy Project that AMO was coordinating through a company called Civics. And I must say that the students were very engaged. It was really, really a good, they had some very thoughtful questions and things that mattered to them, and I think their parents as well. One of the questions that came up was about the reconstruction of St. Charles Crossing, and certainly making sure that there's a sidewalk. That's on the agenda tonight to approve the contract for that. So I had some good news for them on that one, which made them very happy. Yeah, so it was a really good good time. And I will comment right now, that school, we're really going to have to take a look at it, because there's a lot of students in that school who are the size of that school. You know, I think we're going to have to take a look at it and, you know, maybe question our Board of Education to find out if there are going to be any improvements or whatever for expansion to allow for, you know, the students in that school, and not portables to solve that issue. But I will say it was wonderful. So April 12th, I presented a certificate to Marjorie Badger, Marjorie Barriger, celebrating her 100th birthday. So congratulations, Marjorie. Yeah, she had a lot of family there. My goodness, it was really well attended. April 14th, I attended a special municipal employee pension committee meeting, which was, Councillor Bolesky mentioned the OMERS or whatever. It was an update on the OMERS pension plan and how it has fared in 2024, and how they are planning to react to the tariffs from the United States. And I must say that there are some very aware people working for that organization, which is a darn good thing. So that was good. And April 13th, I took my first walk of the year on the fitness trail to Wabano Beach. Trail seemed pretty good. So I was very pleased with how it weathered over the winter and didn't have to jump any puddles, so, which was really good. And that's my report. So item 931, moved by Councillor Borneman and seconded by Councillor McDonald. That council accepts the quotation from Croft Industrial for the supply and installation of a new Mill Lake dock in the amount of $28,280, excluding taxes, this being under budget, and to be funded from the approved 2025 capital budget. Any discussion? Councillor Keith.
Yes, a question for Mr. Cairns, please. I believe that we've had work done by Croft Industrial in the past for the other launch sites. Would that be correct?
Through your worship, yes, that's correct.
And then that we were satisfied with them. And I see on the report here, there's a 5-year warranty, but what I'm hoping is what is the anticipated lifespan of that dock that's to be put in the water there, please?
Through your worship. So I believe, so it'll be different on different components of the dock. Also to point out, I believe the docks at Big Sound Marina were also supplied by the same supplier. So the wooden deck certainly has a shorter lifespan than the steel substructure. From what I understand, there's an anticipated life cycle of, I'm reaching here into my memory bank. I believe the life expectancy of the substructure is probably greater than 50 years. The wood will, the life cycle of the wood will be greatly influenced by the amount of maintenance that it receives. So we have the ability to treat the wood to make it last longer, but I wouldn't anticipate it touching the wood on top of that dock for at least the first decade.
And the follow-up question to that, if this is approved tonight, what's the chances that all this will happen before the long weekend in May? Is that going to be possible, or are we going to?
Through your worship, I'm going to say no. We will get into their order queue as soon as it's approved, and we have spoken to them about expediting. It is a very busy time of year, so I can almost guarantee it will not happen before the long weekend for sure.
Well, just to, maybe we could clarify, what date are we looking at?
Yeah, I'm going to defer to Mr. Bonazza.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We don't have a date as of yet, but there will be no loss in service with taking the old dock out and the new one in. So, but I would probably anticipate midsummer before we see that. So, but there'll be no service interruptions. Old one comes out, new one comes in. So.
Thank you for clarification. Thank you.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. Just a question, I guess, for Ms. Bonazza. There was a mention that they could potentially use composite materials. Was there a quote provided as to how much more that would cost if they were to use composite as opposed to the pressure treated decking? Seeing as it's under budget about 6,000 and change.
I know there's not through Mr. Mayor, but we can definitely look into that. I know there'll be a drastic cost for composite as well. So.
Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Borneman, that council accepts the quotation from Toromont for the supply of a new backhoe for the Public Works Department to replace the current backhoe in the amount of $246,949, excluding taxes, this being $6,949 over budget. And the total cost is funded from the equipment replacement reserve. Any discussion? Councillor Bolesky and then Councillor Keith.
Just one question. Thank you, your worship. Was there other bids on it? Had there been other companies bid on this tender?
Mr. Bonanza?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So no, it was through the Canoe Procurement Group when we sourced this out. Trying to find the best fit with what we're looking for, that our old attachments that we have still in service and new attachments that we're looking at can fit all of our machines and be more versatile. Also the service from this company, they have a dedicated service staff actually in town for this. So looking at other providers, that even the backhoe that we have, to find dealers in the area that can service it quick is very hard. So
Counselor Keith?
So
Oh,
if I may, so we never looked anyplace else at all. Like there was no other supply, because a lot of the parts that fit on it will usually fit on other ones as well. They're kind of a universal, I thought. And I know that the Tormont's an excellent company. I dealt with them quite a bit. But I maybe I'm not understanding it right. I just have an issue, or not an issue, I guess, but I just wonder, I don't like to see things just sole sourced all the time. I just, I'd like to see a chance of other companies getting a chance to bid on it. And if they're not, and in the tender process, when you look at the tenders, you say, okay, so-and-so is a little less than Tormont, but Tormont's got people handier, service is a lot better. So you take that all into consideration. I understand that. So not necessarily the lowest bid gets it, it's the best bid, the best value for the dollar. But I think the town is in a bit of a spot if they don't allow other companies to bid on it. That's my opinion.
I'm gonna let Mr. Kearns answer this one, but I think my understanding is that they go through a procurement company which assesses a number of different pieces of equipment. And I'm sure he can explain it better, and we were able to pick the best one. So Mr. Kearns.
So, thank you, Your Worship. So the Canoe Procurement Program is an offering through local authority services through the Association of Municipalities of Ontario. We did have a presentation last year from Sarah Hubble, I believe, with Canoe. This is not a sole sourcing, because the companies submit bids through the procurement platform that Canoe uses. They have an opportunity to supply bids on all of the equipment that they're looking for information on. So whatever brand is able to supply comparable bids, they are assessed by a professional procurement group through a scoring system. And quite frankly, all of those assessments are available online. If you go on the Canoe website, it's all publicly available information. This allows staff to take advantage of procurement professionals that have a lot of extensive experience in assessing multiple submissions. We're able to take advantage and leverage that expertise. They kind of do the heavy lifting for us, where we can sit back and assess those submissions and choose the most appropriate, the best value and best return for the municipality for all of those things, including service, supply, compatibility. Whereas a traditional tender certainly has its limitations in terms of staff having to sit down, first of all, write the tender to be fair to all the suppliers, as well as to be able to do the assessment of that in amongst all the rest of the jobs that staff are frankly trying to accomplish. So leveraging these professionals has certainly been advantageous for us, and I think it's provided us with great value.
That answer your question now? Okay.
That's fine, thank you.
Counselor Keith, that's right. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Bonanza, and hopefully you can answer it, or maybe it's the finance director. What I'm wondering about is with the sale of the old backhoe, once we get the new backhoe, where does whatever amount of money we get, where is that money deposited? Like, is it deposited in the next time around? So for capital, where does it go for replacement reserve or where happens to that money, please?
Yeah. Through you, Mr. Mayor. So any gains on the sale of equipment are put back to either the fleet reserve, or in this case would be the equipment reserve. So we fund the machines from reserve, and then any gains will also go back into there. So that's the program.
I just, oh, sorry, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to add to that, we have been using gov deals lately. We purchased new sweepers and that, and we have been very actually good returns on our equipment that, through that process, so.
That's good. Council McCann.
So a couple of comments. So, Mr. Kearns, what you said makes a lot of sense, that they do the heavy lifting for us. You know, and they sort of like do the vetting for us, and then we know that we're getting the best deal. I guess my question was, well, a couple of them. What would we expect to get in return if the town manages to sell the original machine? I mean, I'm putting you on the spot, but I'm just curious.
Through you, your worship, that's a very difficult question to answer. What I'm going to suggest, as Mr. Bonazza mentioned, lately the returns have been pleasantly surprising. So it just seems the cost of everything currently seems to be rising, equipment, vehicles, all those sorts of things. So the returns on have been higher than anticipated, generally speaking. For instance, I think, yeah, the return on the sweeper that we recently marketed was again pleasantly surprising. I believe it was around the $70,000 mark on the return on the old sweeper. So there's a market for this older equipment. There are folks that can take advantage of the age. They can make it work for whatever use they're putting it to, and we're seeing higher returns on the sale of the used equipment. So until it's marketed, I really I would be hesitant to hazard a guess on the return. But as you can see, a new machine is upwards of $250,000. So.
Well, that's fair. So my last question then was, with the concerns that Councillor Boleski had, if there were parts that were available for what we have right now, and is this the machine that we see at the yard from time to time they use to pack down do we just have the one backhoe in the town?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, one backhoe. We do have a loader as well, if you're referring to that, but.
Okay, so if we were able to buy parts for this, are we putting good money in after bad at this point?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, like you're talking the original machine?
Yes.
Yes, it is at the end of its life, so your maintenance costs now overrun, you know, what the value of the machine, so.
Great, thank you.
Doesn't only end up the maintenance cost, it means the repair time too, and it's down and you need the machine, so. Yeah, I'm beginning to wonder if with this vintage stuff, maybe instead of a cruiser's night or whatever, they got these old machines and they have a construction vintage night. You never know. Do they? Well, there you go. Oh, yeah. Wow. Well, there you go. Maybe we'll see that old sweeper down there or whatever. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Borneman and second by Councillor McCann. The council accept the bid from Advanced Excavating and General Contracting Limited in the amount of $3,389,748.40, excluding taxes, for the road reconstruction of Isabel and Wood Streets, this being the lowest compliant bid of 5 bids received. Who wants to talk about some of this, or whatever? It's a general sort of update on what we've got going here.
Certainly, your worship, I can do that. So the project involves reconstruction of the road in segments. And the reason I say that is because of the railway crossing plural, through two different national railways, presents a bit of a challenge, and it has a logical point of disconnection between sections of the project. The intersection of Marion and Wood Streets is the start of the project limitations. So the four corners of that intersection traveling up Wood Street to Isabella, sorry, I'm trying to visualize it in my head as we're moving. So up around that corner, it involves realignment of the corner of Wood and Isabella. We've discussed this previously. The alignment of that corner is less than ideal. It involves a little bit of a redesign on the continuation through Kristen Heights to eliminate the ability of traffic to accelerate onto Kristen Heights. So the part of the reasoning for that is that the sidewalk will be on that side of the north side of Isabella Street. So it'll go up the west side of Wood Street, continuing to the north side of Isabella and across the crossings towards Winifred up the other way. So on the school side of the roadway, heading up towards the new school, just for reference. So when we originally looked at this project, the anticipation was that the sidewalk would be on the south side of the roadway, but the topographic surveys revealed that the best location for the sidewalk, including through the rail crossings, was on the north side of the roadway. So the realignment of that intersection construction up to the limits of the railway. We are continuing with a sidewalk construction through the rail limits, separate approvals through CPKC and through CN, in contact with Transport Canada, which has been a little bit challenging and has unfortunately made us further down the road through the calendar than we'd like to be. But the project will then continue through the intersection of Cascade up and terminate at the other side of Winifred. So part of the reasoning for this is to allow us to upgrade the water main between the rail crossing and Winifred. It is a metal pipe that is in need of replacement at this point. The reason that this has been a complicated project to tackle. That's why you're seeing a number that was higher than first anticipated. We had looked at replacing the water mains through the rail allowance as well, but the scope of the project was becoming so large that it was decided that that section of water main can be tackled at a later date on its own without impacting any of the road that has been reconstructed. There'll be pits involved in crossing both railways with a new water main through directional boring. So that will be a project on its own in the future that will come back to council for consideration. In the meantime, we're improving stormwater systems. So there'll be service lines at each of the properties available for discharge of stormwater from sump pits and roof leaders and those kinds of things. New sanitary and new water services to each of the properties, and improvements of the storm drain system throughout the project area as well. There is some ditching along the rail line that is very restrictive to follow rail rules. It's not your average ditching project, so that improves some of the stormwater flows from Winifred down Isabella into the rail allowance. So hopefully that wasn't too confusing. The kind of the Coles notes is that the scope of the project grew considerably when we started assessing the condition of the existing infrastructure, the need for realignment of the different intersections, certainly fixing the road from the tracks to Winifred was obviously something that's in dire need for anyone that's driven through that section.
And I think too, I noticed that Wood Street itself is deteriorating severely. And that if we have a little extra money or shift some money from paving I don't know what we're planning on, where we're planning on paving this year, but if we can get a little bit more done, whatever, on Wood Street, I think that would make a heck of a lot of people happy in that particular area. Because people are literally using Georgina because Wood Street is so rough. And I'm just saying, if we're doing this work, let's do it.
So one caution that I would offer is that the surface is a very small portion
Yeah, I know.
of the project. We'll have to do an assessment of the underground infrastructure prior to resurfacing, but we can certainly keep that in mind for
Yeah.
sure.
If it's good, let's look at it. Councillor Borneman and then Councillor McCann.
Oh, I'm sure the folks on Hillcrest and Addy Streets would say, don't put me any further back in the lineup, Mr. Mayor.
No, I'm sure. Yeah.
So, Mr. Cairns, I have a few questions. Are there any changes to the signals on the railway crossings on Isabella Street required through this process?
Through your worship, no, and that was one of the considerations that we heavily discussed with Transport Canada and the railways, because that is not a process that we wanted to.
Oh, that's a big money,
yes.
big money job. We want to stay away from that. Will, you said construction will be phased, for lack of a better word. Will the roadway be closed at any time?
Through your worship, the intention is to maintain traffic flow. When I say phase, there's 3 different portions of the same contract. Same contractor is planning on doing all the work, and there will be some subcontractors perhaps because of the railway work that's required as far as their
So emergency service vehicles access won't be disrupted, or
and local traffic will be able to access. Certainly, as with any construction project, if we can limit the amount of traffic, it certainly helps the speed and quality of any project. So if folks can go around, they're not local traffic, we would certainly encourage that.
well, I just finished by saying this has been going on for years. I thank the staff for finally getting this pushed through, and hopefully we can get on with this project and finish it as quickly as possible. It's long been understood that there's a safety issue there, and hopefully this goes some way to addressing that. So thank you for your efforts.
Yeah. Councillor McCann.
So I'm not sure, I might be a little confused here. So where the tracks are, is there still going to be a bottleneck there, or will the road be widened straight through where the tracks are? In other words, there'd be fill in between the 2 tracks so that there's no,
So
I mean, you're talking about a sidewalk, so you have to make room for that, but
through your worship, there is no actual bottleneck. There are 2 lanes of flow through the entire area. It seems a little bit wider, obviously, because there's, I think the guardrails are pushed back a little bit. But the road width is a standard road width through the rail crossing as well. And there is room for the sidewalk. We have heavily mapped and studied that to ensure that.
so, and the sidewalks on the school side, would you be pushing the rail guards back a little bit? Like, I just can't see in my mind right now where there's much room for a sidewalk there. It seems pretty narrow.
So through your worship, we had topographic surveys, we have maps, we have engineering designs, as well as submissions to the railways, and there is adequate room for sure. It does look very narrow, but there is more than adequate room to have compliant sidewalk and roadway through that area.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Vanessa.
Just to add, so if you're going to be coming down to the corner on Isabella, coming around onto Wood Street, we are shoving the road a little bit to the, I guess if you're coming down to the left side and through that corner to finish that corner and to make room at the bottom of that. So for larger vehicles and for the sidewalk, so it flows a lot better through there. So we are doing a little bit of moving down, further down from the railway.
Yeah, if I could just add, just to clarify, absolutely no shifting of the road through the rail
Yes, yes.
crossings, as Councillor Borneman alluded. Moving those signals can result in an extreme expenditure. So
So no moving the signals, but will there be pedestrian drop arms then utilized to stop people from going along the sidewalk?
so
If there's a train?
the intention is that the signals that exist will come down and block the side.
Oh, they'll be
The
inside.
yeah.
Okay, all
So
right, good enough.
if we again, as Councillor Borderman mentioned, establishing a new signalization, I think some of the rough numbers were well over $1 million if we were looking at pedestrian signals through the area as well.
Good enough. Councillor Ashford.
I just was hoping I could outline my understanding just to make sure that I have it right. That we're gonna get we're getting new road and underground pipes and sidewalk from the tracks all the way down to, all the way down Wood Street up to is it Marion there? So that's all new sidewalk track, or new sidewalk pipes and road.
Yes, that's
And
correct.
then same thing on the other side, all the way up to Winifred.
Correct.
And then in the middle, do we have property in between the tracks we got to deal with? Okay, that's all train in between?
So the two rail allowances basically come together in there.
Okay,
So
and then, so that section there, do we have to pave and put the sidewalk in there as well?
there will be the sidewalk for sure. There will be, I think, a little bit of asphalt work to happen within that area, but not to the extent of the rest of the project.
Okay, and then at some point, we'll have to dig and run that pipe that's just under the rail allowance to connect. It's only water that goes under the rail allowance, I think, as well, right?
Correct.
Okay, so at some
And
point
those
we'll have
would
to
be
dig
directional
through.
boring through pits. And that isn't an immediate necessity.
Sounds good.
Got it. Councillor Keith.
Yes, thank you. My question, yes, is in respect to that directional boring. And I realize it sounds like there's a lot of work, a lot of money being spent, and I'm not suggesting we add some more to it at this point. But what I am wondering about with the way the report was written, down the road, we're looking at that water, that issue being taken care of by directional boring. So I'd like to know, does that mean when the directional boring happens, will there be some of that roadway torn up, ripped up, whatever again, to get to whatever the issue is? Like, will we be doing a double job there?
Through your worship. So quite possibly, it would be a very limited excavation to allow for the launching of the directional boring. So we're not talking excavating the entire roadway. It would be opening an access and a receiving pit. Potentially in the roadway, there's a possibility that we can avoid that as well. So in the future, but if it were necessary, it's not ripping up the entire road. It would be a very small access point in which to launch the boring and to receive it on the other side.
Anything further? Okay, let's get this project going. All in favor? That's carried, none opposed. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Belaski, second by Councillor Keith, whereas Community Living Parry Sound has worked to bring people and their communities together for over 60 years. And whereas Community Living Parry Sound supports people as they develop their capacity to live, learn, work, and participate in all aspects of living in the community. And whereas Community Living Parry Sound helps the community develop its capacity to welcome and support people who have not always had the same opportunities as the rest of us to participate in their community in meaningful, productive ways. And whereas Council for the Town of Parry Sound wishes to urge its citizens to celebrate the inclusion in our community of people who have a developmental disability. Now therefore be resolved, the Mayor and Council declare the month of May 2025 as Community Living Month in the Town of Parry Sound. Any discussion? All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Councilor Pulaski, second by Councilor Keith, whereas inclusive, evidence-based scientific research leads to better outcomes for Canadians by ensuring that all voices and experiences are reflected in the development of knowledge, treatments, and innovations. Whereas Canadian municipalities benefit directly from research-informed policies on public health, infrastructure, education, environmental protection, and economic development. Whereas diverse and inclusive research teams have been shown to generate more innovative, practical, and impactful solutions, and yet many equity-deserving groups, including women, remain underrepresented in science and research careers. Whereas inclusive research strengthens our economy, healthcare system, and the ability to address national and global challenges. Therefore, be resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Parry Sound supports the national call for stronger federal support for inclusive research that reflects the diversity of Canadian communities, and be it further resolved that this resolution be shared with other municipalities in Ontario, Federation of Canadian Municipalities, and relevant provincial and federal representatives for consideration and support. Any discussion? Councilor McCann?
Just a chance to once again thank Carol Yock for bringing this forward and for her comments and insight this evening.
Thank you. Anything further? All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Moved by Councilor Keith and seconded by Councilor Pulaski. Whereas the province has announced the expansion of strong mayor powers to another 169 municipalities as of May 1st, 2025, in addition to the 47 municipalities which currently have received strong mayor powers. And whereas the province claims that strong mayor powers will get homes and infrastructure built faster, reduce red tape, and accelerate the delivery of key priorities. Whereas research from the Association of Municipal Clerks and Treasurers of Ontario, AMCTO, has identified that A, there is no evidence to suggest this legislation has any impact on the number of housing starts in municipalities that have been granted the powers, and B, strong mayor powers have blurred the political administrative authority between the roles of heads of council, chief administrative officers, CAOs, threatening the neutrality of public service and politicizing local government leadership. Whereas strong mayor powers is an erosion to the democratic process of an historically nonpartisan municipal government structure. Now, therefore, the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Parry Sound hereby resolves to reject the strong mayor powers granted to it and request the province repeal the legislation or offer an option to municipalities to opt out of strong mayor powers, and that this resolution be forwarded to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Rob Flack, Premier Doug Ford, MPP Graydon Smith, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, and all Ontario municipalities. So, when I heard about this, I was quite taken aback because it was certainly nothing. I had certainly never asked for it, and I don't remember it even being discussed that it was going to be presented. So, personally, I feel that this is a shift in thought and policy further to the right. And I certainly see this as mentioned in the resolution, erosion of democracy. And policy like this positions an individual closer, as far as I'm concerned, to a dictatorship. And given what's going on around the world right now and to the south of us, it appalls me that we would be put into that position to have one person be able to veto council and to set budgets, terminate staff, and basically be held harmless. So my belief has always been that a strong mayor, through leadership, and by consensus. And projects will move forward based on the strength and legitimacy of that particular project. So I don't want that division between the mayor's position and council to be created. And I don't believe that this community deserves some sort of position like that. So standing fast on that, I'm hoping that is 100% support from council, and I'd like a recorded vote on it all, that we move forward, let the province know, and that if the province ever does bring it back and says we have to do it, whatever that, or some mayor down the line decides they want to do it, that it is a supermajority that would have to make the decision, not just being said by the province that here you go, sort of thing. So, any comments, Councilor McCann?
Well, I had one individual before council this evening asked me to pass along their regards, that they were pleased that you were against this sort of thing. And certainly, I think you made a comment that I was going to make. All we have to do is look south of the border to see what's going on when one person has the power or seems to feel that they can take the power with no accountability. So you definitely have my vote in this. And as the critics have said, this just, you know, to go with this would be just erode democracy. So this is a no-brainer.
Councilor Ashford.
I just wanted to add too that when I saw this and this came up, what first came to mind was your example, Mayor. Over the last 3 years, I feel like the example you've set as mayor and chair of this group has made me be able to do my job better in other parts, and it's kind of made me a better person just through looking for consensus and that kind of collegial atmosphere that you've created and all of us have kind of created here. So I really commend you for standing up for this and saying this. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. Councilor Keith.
Well, when I heard of this, I have to say, Mr. Mayor, I was appalled because I felt that this definitely is an erosion of democracy. We don't need a council. We just need one person elected and let them be tyrant and determine whatever they wish. And furthermore, you know, when I see here, as I read before, there's a suggestion that giving strong mayor policy powers will in turn get homes built faster and infrastructure, you know, completed and red tape less. I mean, I find that really unacceptable. You know, if we want to move to a country where the dictator runs the show, then I say, you know, we have an opportunity, pack our bag and go there. But if we believe in democracy, we cannot accept something like this. It's just unacceptable. Thank you.
Anyone else? I was just going to say that I've been working with AMO through this Healthy Democracy project, which they've been working on, which we're trying to promote inclusiveness and education into, you know, what a democracy is and that kind of stuff, and trying to get people, you know, of you know, all voting ages anyway, to become involved, and younger ones or whatever as well, in, you know, speaking up that, you know, you have that right to do it. You've got a right to vote. You've got those rights that, you know, are part of that democracy moving forward. And through this program that we're trying to get into work with the education system on is that hopefully there ends up in the curriculum an actual program so that students can understand what the democracy is, and moving forward can better understand, so that we have politicians for the future and understand and respect that democracy and able to get people out to actually vote so that they understand what that vote means. And this is an erosion of that process. And, so, anyway, I guess I've said enough. Anyway, we get to read out the names and check the marks for yay or nay.
Counselor Ashford? Counselor Valesky?
Yay.
Counselor Borneman?
Yay.
Counselor Keith? Yeah. Counselor McCann?
Yes.
Counselor McDonald?
Yay.
Yes for me too.
Sorry, I thought he said nay.
No, no, no.
Carried.
Yep. No, I got it. It's okay. Thank you, everyone. Councilor McCann?
If I could just make a comment, you were talking about having been at school and talking to the kids about democracy and about municipal politics. Prior to COVID, we had the kids from the various schools participate in a municipal week, and we had a mock council meeting with the kids. And I always looked forward to that because it was sort of an opportunity to sort of, I guess, pass along some teaching or a bit of mentorship into what, as you say, we're looking for future politicians, and I'd like to see that come back. I know that when Ann was here, she did a great job of coordinating that, and I'm hoping maybe that in the future we can get back to that.
So one of the reasons that I'm on this particular committee is because of the process that we have done in the past. So my hope is that we're going to integrate that into the system. It would be done during local government week, which is in October. And, but we're working through the process as it is right now. So it starts with grade 5, 6. There's a sort of learning session and discussion, and then you would go into the fall or whatever into local government week. There would be another discussion, and then this mock council meeting. It all becomes part of an actual curriculum within the school. That's what the hope school education system, I should say. And then in grade 10, in their civic class that they have, then there is a follow-up in grade 10 as to how this thing moves forward. The other aspect of this is that it gives students a better understanding of the actual jobs that are also within the municipality, and there are good paying jobs within the municipality. And, not that some of their career choices, that they're making good career choices, but there are many good career choices within a municipality that they can, make good money, raise a family on. And, we need those people. We are falling short on people in a number of different areas that we need staff. And this is right across the province, right across the country. So, there's a lot of moving parts to it that hopefully work out, that the future becomes a little bit brighter.
Well, I'm very excited to hear that. I think it's great. It's more than just a one-night affair that
Yep.
the kids come in and that they really get a real hands-on
Yep.
on experience. I certainly would like to be involved with that.
Okay, so move by, to answer your question, sorry on that, Councilor McCann, I at the moment, it's a process that's being followed. And
Sure, I
we've
understand.
got to work our way through that to get to where we want to go. So right
Perfect.
now,
That's
there's a lot of these pilots that are being done, and we are a pilot. So once
It's
you get,
across the province. You mentioned AMO at one point.
this is being worked through AMO. Okay. And they have contracted this group called Civics, which I know Councillor Ashford is aware of them, because we're trying to hopefully get St. Peter's School as well involved in this. And anyway, like I say, it's a pilot. There are a number of these being run across the province right now, and then everything will be compiled later and something put into a formal structure. Yep. So moved by Counselor Borneman and seconded by Counselor McCann. Correspondence is on the agenda 4.2. Resolution to direct staff is not in the agenda. Oh, it's the award. Seniors. Whereas the Ontario Senior of the Year Award gives each municipality in Ontario the opportunity to honor one outstanding local Ontarian who, after the age of 65, has enriched the social, cultural, and civic life of his or her community. And whereas the province has formally invited the Mayor of Parry Sound by letter dated April 2025 to nominate one exceptional local senior. Well, they're putting a lot of pressure on me for that. Holy smokes. Is that like strong mayor powers? Sorry, I've digressed. One exceptional local senior for the 2025 Ontario Senior of the Year Award by the April 30th deadline, and whereas the province will provide the mayor with a certificate within 3 to 4 weeks of the deadline to formally present to their nominee during the Seniors Month in June 2025. Now, therefore, the Council of the Corporation of Town of Parry Sound hereby resolves to direct staff to invite members of the community to submit nominations for the Senior of Year Award by April 28th, and that the mayor select one recipient from amongst all applications received and submit the nomination to the province by the April 30th deadline. Discussion? All in favor? We go from one where I say I don't want it, all this stuff, and then I've got to make this decision. God.
Is a great initiative.
Well, there you go. Oh, it is. It is. Yeah. Senior of the year one. 953. I wonder if it's stuck in with. 951. What have we got over there? All right, 953. Oh. Okay. We need another signature. Here you go. So moved by Councillor Keith and seconded by Councillor Ashford that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Parry Sound hereby approves the request of the West Parry Sound Health Center Auxiliary for a tag day on Thursday, June 26, 2025, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. outside several businesses upon obtaining those businesses permission in the Town of Parry Sound. Any discussion? Councillor McCann?
I just want to give a shout out to the auxiliary. They work hard to fundraise. Of course, they have the gift shop in the hospital. You don't have to be sick to shop in there and do some shopping if you need a birthday or anniversary gift or something. But the ladies work hard, volunteer their days in the shop and around town. So just a shout out to thank them for their efforts.
Councillor Ashford?
Just an echo to what Council McCann said there. It's shocking how much work this group gets done. And even down to the type of last discussion, I got a little update from them yesterday that the type of coffees being offered. They're adjusting that coffees and teas to fit the needs of the patients in the community. They're right in tune with everything that's needed.
Oh, okay. Anything else? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moved by Counselor Bielanski, second by Counselor Keith, that bylaw number 2025-7500 being a bylaw to amend the parking and traffic control bylaw 2019-6912 to permit overnight parking at the Salt Dock Boat Launch be considered as read a first time. All in favor? That's carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? Carried. Moved by Counselor Bielanski and seconded by Counselor Keith that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. Any discussion? Counselor Keith?
Yes, my question is, like clarification on it. If it's a local taxpayer that would be parking there because maybe they're going fishing for the day or whatever overnight at the cottage, do they have to pay to have a permit, or do they just register themselves and prove that they're a taxpayer so that they would not be required to have to pay a fee for parking there?
Ms. Kruger?
Your worship, we do have a program in place whereas residents can contact us to apply for an exemption to those parking permit fees. So if they have done so, then if they want to park overnight, they just let us know they're parking, and then they would be exempt from those fees. So if a resident hasn't gone through that process, they would be expected to pay the fee that's involved, but they are welcome to go through that process to have that exemption if they would like.
So just for the follow-up, is that made clear on the website, or is it basically find out or whatever on your own?
Through your worship, it is on the website. I believe it still has the heading as a pilot project because we did start it as that. It has seemed to work well so far, so it is something we're continuing.
Anything else? All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Counselor McCann, second by Counselor McDonald, the bylaw number 2025-7495 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement with the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation for approval of the Bobby Orr Hall of Fame fundraising and special events intern be considered as read a first time. All in favor? That's carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? And that's carried. Moved by Counselor McDonald, seconded by Counselor McCann, that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. Any discussion on this? All in favor? Oh, Counselor Keith?
Yes, I was just wondering about the date involved, as to how long this program runs, because I thought the dates seemed to be a little bit off.
Through
Your worship, the program is for a 1-year internship position. So our intern joined us a couple of weeks ago, and the position will carry through until April of 2026.
Any further discussion? All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Moved by Counselor McCann, second by Counselor Borneman, that bylaw number 2025-7496 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a letter of agreement with the Ontario Minister of Transportation regarding funding under the dedicated gas tax funds for public transportation program be considered as read a first time. All in favor? And that's carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? Carried. Moved by Counselor Borneman, second by Counselor McCann, that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. Any discussion? Counselor Keith?
Yes, thank you. Ms. Phillips, I'm not clear. It seems to be the way it's written here that the program runs to, it says March 31st, 2025, and we're already in April. Like, is there a year lag, or what's the situation? I don't understand.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So the agreement just aligns with the province's fiscal year, but typically goes from March till, like, begins in March and ends in March each year, and then continues to a new funding agreement. So it provides approximately $56,778, and it goes towards funding for the blue accessible van that operates. We typically put toward to reserve for future replacement of that.
I understand that. I understand where the money goes to. What I still don't understand is for the 24-25 year, it says the program runs from April 1st, 2024 to March 31st, 2025. Well, we're already in April 2025. So why is it that it doesn't say from whatever, April 2025 to whatever in 2026, or we're just a year late every time? It's always a year behind before these papers are signed. I don't understand that. Can you clarify it?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, so it is a bit behind, but each year we provide reporting information. A CUDA survey, which talks about how many trips we do, and then they compile data on the population and a number of other factors that go into how much funding we get. So I feel like it's likely connected to the work that the province has to do to collect that data and determine what our funding is that's available, but
In other words, we have red tape to file before we actually get any funding.
yes, each year we have to do a number of reporting requirements, so.
Well, it seems to me if we had to pay the CRA, there'd be a problem here, wouldn't there? We wouldn't get away with this. Thank you.
Councillor McCann.
Yeah, but if you have a refund coming on your tax, this is the same scenario. You have to file if you want.
Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Borneman, that bylaw number 2025-7501 being a bylaw to ratify the execution of agreement with the Corporation of the City of Clarence Rockland for automated speed enforcement, ticket processing, and related services be considered as read a first time. All in favor? That's carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? Carried. Moved by Councillor Borneman, second by Councillor McDonald, that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. Let's get this done. Are any questions? Councillor Boleski.
Thank you, Your Worship. I realize that this will go through, but I think everybody here knows that I'm opposed to anything to do with the automatic speed enforcement. Personally, I don't like them. I've had not one taxpayer come up and say, "What are you doing? Why are you putting that up?" Which is understandable, I guess, but I don't like it. I'm not in favor of it, and I'll be opposing it. Probably the only one, but thank you.
Councillor Keith.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Cairns, maybe you can explain something to me. I'm supportive of the automated speed enforcement processing of these tickets, but where I'm having the problem is if this agreement is signed, it seems like we're signing something, but where does it say in this agreement how much we're being charged? I just didn't seem to see that. So it seems like, is it that we need to have all agreements kind of compiled together and then we find out? Because it seems if I was buying a car, I know how much it's going to cost me, and I don't see where there's a fee there. Can you explain that, please?
Certainly, it's true, Your Worship. So this is part of the process in establishing an entire system for ASE through local authority services, again, through AMO. This is a joint processing center that's being established by LAS. They're spearheading the program Again, I said it earlier, I'll say it again, they're doing the really heavy lifting on this one for us, because Ms. Kruger and I have been looking at this for a little while now, and establishing a system for ourselves within the municipality is a very onerous system. So we have spoken to them. There will be a per ticket processing fee. That hasn't been finalized. We understand what the fee, what range it is to be. It is more than acceptable. It's a fabulous value in terms of trying to establish our own system. So until we have all of the pieces in place, we won't have those final numbers. But the processing will be done by Clarence Rockland. They will invoice the municipality a per ticket fee for the processing. And it's really a nominal fee in the big scheme of things.
So because there's other sections that in part of this process that have to, in the agreement, that have to come into play before it's all completed. Will there be something in documentation that will be able to tell, for example, me as a counselor, what that fee is going to be, the processing fee? Because like, it doesn't give a range in the report. I'm just wondering, how does that work, please?
So I'm going to say thank you to Ms. Phillips. She just pulled up the actual agreement, and it's $12.50 per ticket is the processing fee for this particular portion of the agreement.
Councilor McCann?
Well, I was going to ask for the public's benefit, an explanation on the connection with Clarence Rockland. I think you mentioned that they will be doing the processing. Is this not something that we can do, or is it beyond the realm of our practical ability?
Through your worship. So the short answer is it's beyond our capability. For the most part, the original joint processing center was the city of Toronto. For example, the city of Greater Sudbury was contracting to the city of Toronto to look after their ticketing needs. Just for reference sake, in the city of Greater Sudbury is exponentially larger than we are in terms of resources. So LAS initially established a joint processing center in the city of Parry as part of this whole process. Clarence Rockland is the second municipality to provide joint processing center services. So City of Barrie reached capacity with other municipalities joining in, like Shelburne, New Tecumseh, Innisfil. So while we're distanced from Clarence Rockland, it's not a challenge because of the nature of the data transmission and that sort of thing. So.
Okay, thank you. I had another comment. Oh, yeah, simply that to clarify that this is for speeding, these are not red light cameras, which is what I would like to see.
Through your worship, this is automated speed enforcement only at this point. Red light camera system is a completely separate process and program.
Thank you.
Anything further? All in favor? Any opposed? It's carried with one opposed. Oh, yeah. Moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor McCann. The bylaw number 2025-7497 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement with the Corporation of the Village of Berks Falls for the use and occupation of the EMS base located at the Ambulance Garage, 105 Main Street, Berks Falls, be considered as read a first time. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? And that's carried. Moved by Councillor McCann and seconded by Councillor McDonald that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. Any discussion? Councillor McCann?
I haven't heard Chief Thompson's voice tonight, so maybe just for the public's benefit.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, this is really an interim lease with the Village of Berks Falls. As was previously before council, we're actually doing some fairly serious renovations of that base this summer. Once those renovations are completed, then there will be a new lease that will come forward to council that incorporates the value of the renovations as well as the ongoing lease amounts.
Counselor Keith?
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. I'm just wondering, do you have an anticipated date as to when you figure the renovations will be completed?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we released the tender last week. It has a 3 week time to spend on bids and tenders. Planning on having that to council to approve the renovations in the second meeting in May. It should be about 4 or 5 months after that once it's completed. So we're thinking fall, early winter of 2025.
Further? All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Counselor Keith and seconded by Counselor Ashford that bylaw number 2025-7498 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a transfer payment agreement with His Majesty the King in right of Ontario as represented by the Minister of the Solicitor General for a fire services grant be considered as read a first time. All in favor? That's carried. Members in favor of having the second and third readings? Carried. Moved by Counselor Keith and seconded by Counselor Ashford that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. Any discussion? All in favor? Then that's carried. Thank you. Moved by Counselor Keith and seconded by Counselor Ashford that bylaw number 2025-7499 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2004-4653, the zoning bylaw as amended for 7 Great North Road and legally described as part of Parcel C, Plan 137, and Part 2, Plan PSR 1712 in the town of Parry Sound be considered as read a first time. All in favor? That's carried. Members in favor of having the second and third reading? That is carried. Moved by Counselor Keith and seconded by Counselor Ashford that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. Any discussion? Counselor Boski?
Just a question. I was by there the other day and there's backhoes and then dump trucks bringing material in. Have they started this changeover already?
Through your worship to Councillor Boleski, the site alteration is for a rear patio that was approved through a site plan agreement. This temporary kitchen would be located more towards the side of the building.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay. Anything any further? No? All in favor? And that's carried, none opposed. Moved by Counselor Keith, second by Counselor Boleski, that bylaw number 2025-7502 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council be considered as read a first time. All in favor? Carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? That's carried. Moved by Counselor Keith and second by Counselor Boleski that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. All in favor? And that's carried. So, prior to adjourning, I'd like to offer the following information to the public regarding the next council meeting. Next meeting of council for the town of Parry Sound is scheduled for Tuesday, May 6, 2025 at 7 p.m. The meeting will be held at the town of Parry Sound Council Chambers at 52 Sequin Street, entrance via Gibson Street, and will be live streamed and recorded. All regular council meetings are held at 7 p.m. on the first and third Tuesday of each month, except January and August. where only one regular meeting is scheduled. Council meeting schedule, notices of special council meetings, complete agendas and minutes, and instructions on accessing live, streamed and recorded council meetings are all posted on the town's website. Go to www.parrysound.ca and use the search bar. Your TV airs council meetings on Saturday at 9:30 a.m. following a regular council meeting. For Cogeco listings, contact www.yourtv.tv. Remember, everyone, May 3rd is Maple Fest downtown. Hopefully everybody has a great time, and good night. Yeah, he did, and he left. He left.